can see it.
Unless you can another device at home. No, actually, it's the picture that's behind.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the March 23rd Valley View School Board meeting. Before we start the meeting, I would ask Member Zach to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Those of you who are here and those of you who are online joining us, we'll have a conversation about that in a second. Vice President Zach.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United
States of America,
to
and
the
to the
republic for which it stands,
one
nation,
under
under God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So as I said, this is a little unique situation. We've had to scramble to kind of figure this thing out electronically. I want to commend our IT folks for their help, and we've done about 2 or 3 of these calls trying to figure this all out. So we have, well, I guess, Madam Clerk, if you want to take the roll, we'll have a roll call, get that established.
Okay, Member Gilbo,
Present.
Member Pero,
Here.
Secretary Sikora,
Here.
Vice President Zach,
Here.
President Quigley,
Here.
Member Baduras and Member Campbell, I believe will be joining us shortly.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we'll know when they join in, or somehow they'll make contact with us. I don't know if they're calling in or if they're going to join through the Zoom, correct?
Yes, I believe they're both trying to call in.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Again, this is a very unique situation that we're facing, not just here, of course, across the state, across the country, across the world to a certain extent. COVID-19 is spreading rapidly throughout the Midwest, as we well know. Last count I heard, there was 1,049 cases diagnosed in Illinois. I'm sure that number's gone up since this morning, and there were 9 deaths. Thoughts and prayers go out to the family members of those folks who have lost someone, and we pray for those people who are ill to recover, as fast as possible and as healthy as possible. Right now, the schools have been closed till April 6th, I believe is the date. Rachel, correct me if I'm wrong, April 6th or 7th?
Through April 7th.
Yeah, through April 7th. We don't know if that date's going to change. It probably will. I'm going to say the same thing you've heard 1,000 times. If you think you might be ill, stay away from people, stay home, get better. If you're in a position where you really think you need, if you're having respiratory problems, that's when you should go see your specialist, go to your hospital, go to your doctor, and get the critical care that you may need. I'm no expert in this by any means. Just like everyone else, we're reading it online, getting our news and what have you. It is a very unique situation, but I am confident that we will all get through this together. We have great staff that have just stepped up amazingly. We're serving 20,000 meals every couple of days, every 3rd day, Mondays and Wednesdays for the families that are in need in our district as students, and it's going along very well. I want to thank the food preparation folks for that. The security folks have stepped up. The building principals and administrators that are coming in to help with those when those meals are being served it's 9 to 11 Mondays and Wednesdays at Bolingbrook, Humphrey, RHS, and AVM. Oh, I'm sorry, JGL. So, right here. Again, keep an eye on what you see in the papers, what you hear online, locally, the Illinois Department of Public Health, the Will County Department of Public Health. Everybody's trying to keep on top of this, and we are in a very unique situation. We are meeting today because we had some business we needed to conduct. We will reevaluate how we're going to do our next meeting, which isn't scheduled till later in
Oh, there's a link you have to click on.
So, that being said, let's move down the agenda relatively quickly here. And by the way, if you can see, we're all practicing social distancing.
Hang on.
John's at least 7 feet away from me. So, let's see, I need a board affirmation statement. Somebody have it up?
I do.
All right, read away. That's Member Sikora.
Yes. Our mission is to empower all learners to be college, career, and life ready, and to develop, grow, and achieve as productive citizens.
Thank you. Ms. Kinder,
Yes,
the
sir.
agenda.
Thank you, President Quigley. I'd like to ask that you approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So move.
Second.
Motion and seconded by Member Cora and Member Pero. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Let the record indicate JT Baduras has joined us. At least we can see his picture. Can you hear us, JT?
I can, but can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. So great. Thank you. Let's see. We are now consent agenda items.
Yes,
Ms. Kinder.
we are seeking your approval on consent agenda items 3.1, approval of board meeting minutes, March 9th, 2020. Item 3.2, executive session meeting minutes, March 9th, 2020. And item 3.3, gifts to Independence Elementary School and Kenneth L. Hermansen Elementary School.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Abstain.
Member Pero?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Yes. Audience participation. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address the board? Nobody here physically? Anybody online? Hearing none, seeing none. Moving down the agenda. Action reports. Ms. Kinder.
Yes, action report 5.1, we are seeking approval for the adoption of Fontes and Pennell Classroom shared reading component for primary grades K through 2. This includes the purchase of teacher editions and student books from Fontes and Pennell. A summary of the background and rationale, process, and criteria for selection is contained in this report. And at the previous board meeting, the presentation was provided by the team making this recommendation for this resource. This approval is subject to attorney review and approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Pero?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Okay, action report 5.2 is seeking approval of board policy 650, school wellness. This policy has been updated to reflect recommendations by the Illinois Association of School Boards Policy Service and creates
Are you getting in?
a charge requesting the formation of a district wellness committee. The wellness committee will serve to unify and strengthen our current and future efforts related to school health and wellness.
We have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Member Pero and
Okay.
Member Sikora, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Roll
Okay,
call vote,
we'll go
please.
that way.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do have questions. When I was reading through, it looks like the recess is removed from the health and wellness. Are the elementary students no longer going to have recess?
No, that is not true. Our elementary students are required to have daily recess as well as physical education requirements as well. So I'm looking for the portion that you're referencing. Can you direct me to where you might have seen this?
I'm sorry, I don't have it right in
Oh,
front of me.
I
at the
see what you're,
moment.
okay, what you are seeing is that that section that it was stricken in the copy you were provided
Yeah.
was just moved. So it's still contained in the policy. It was just reorganized. And the requirement for recess is a state, is part of the school code as well. So that wouldn't definitely be something that we would be striking based on the requirement from the school code, and because we believe that physical activity is imperative for our children. So that is not accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I have one more for you.
Sure.
I read where it says ISBE prohibits EFDs for grades 8 and below in participating schools. Could you explain that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? ISBE prohibits what?
EFDs, so we'll need to know what EFDs are. I know it tells us in our packet, but maybe people listening might not know what that is. For grades 8 and below in participating schools.
Where's this at?
Okay, exempted fundraising day requests?
Yeah.
Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is about using food for fundraising purposes. So all food and beverages sold to students on the school campus of participating schools during the school day must comply with the general nutrition standards for competitive foods specified in federal law. And that applies to, it's referring there to the exempted fundraising day requests.
So is that?
I apologize for the dogs. I'm gonna put this on mute, but could you explain that one more time when I mute this?
So
Sorry.
it says ISB rules prohibit exempted fundraising day requests for grades 8 and below in participating schools. The superintendent or designee in a participating school may grant an exempted fundraising day request for grades 9 through 12 in participating schools. So this is essentially saying that all food and beverages, including those for fundraising purposes, have to comply with general nutrition standards that are set by the federal government, and that there can be no exceptions made for grades 8 and below, and that there may be an exception granted for grades 9 through 12. That's part of our very strict federal guidelines related to nutrition and the foods that are made available on our campuses.
It's like bake sale items.
Correct.
Yep, that's what I thought. Okay.
Does that also count for like after-school activities, or is that just during the?
In this section, it specifically refers to during the school day. So I believe if it's outside of the school day, this is referring specifically to being prohibited within the school day.
Okay, thank you very much.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? If not, roll call vote, please. Are you on mute? Shelley?
Yep, okay, Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Gilbo,
Yes.
Member Campbell, can you hear me? I don't think she can hear. She is getting on, but no hearing. Okay, Member Badouris,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Moving down the agenda, Mr. Grazafi, student fees for 2021, 2022, 2023.
Yes, last meeting we brought a information report outlining the student fees and changes for the next 3 years. We are recommending no changes to the current student fee schedule with 2 primary exceptions. The first being current paid transportation fee is $525 and has not changed in the last 5 years. We did a 3-year, 5-year, and 9-year cost average. You can see that in the exhibit in your packet. At this time, we are recommending the fees be increased by $25 for next year to $550, and then increased again another $25 for 2021, for 21-22 to $575, where it will remain for 22-23. Again, just trying to provide the fees or put the fees in line with the cost of providing student transportation. This is an annual cost for a child to take advantage of paid transportation. The other change, or exception, if you will, is at the middle school level. We are recommending implementation of a new co-curricular, non-athletic competitive participation fee. Be $40. This new lower fee would cover activities that participate competitively with other schools but hold fewer practices and compete in fewer events than athletics. Everything else would remain the same. We are continuing the discounts and maximums for multi-student family credits, as well as a maximum participation fee in athletics at both the middle and high school. And so at this time, we are recommending the student fee schedule be approved as presented for school years 2021 through 22-23.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to say that I was excited to see the fees are not going up for the parents. So I'm impressed that we can keep them the same for the next 3 years. So that's excellent.
Thank you.
I agree.
I agree with Deb and with Diane. I would even like to see in the future if we could do something to reduce the fees. I know it's tough for a lot of families to be able to make that happen, to pay those fees. I also have a question for you, Gary. I see it says paid transportation, busing, and I was just wondering if you could explain who pays that? Is that people, are those families that are not in the district that pay for that transportation? Because our transportation's free for people that lie within the boundaries, correct?
It only applies to those that live a mile and a half or greater from the site, the attendance site. So this paid fee, and it's a good question, good clarification, would apply to anybody who lives inside a mile and a half of their current attendance school.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote. Shelley?
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Member Badouris?
Yes.
Member Campbell, can you hear us now? Okay, I guess she cannot hear. Secretary Cora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
And President Quigley?
Yes.
Second action report this evening is, or this afternoon rather, is a recommendation for paving at our parking lot renovations at 3 of our sites. Back in February, we presented an information report highlighting the projects supported by the 2018 bond issuance. And so tonight we bring to you these 3 projects. Primarily Bolingbrook High School's scope of work is for the north lot. We had 5 bidders on this parking lot renovation, which was original to the school, built in 2004. For transportation, also original to that site, built in 2006. The parking lot is immediately south of the transportation building. That's the primary lot there. Independence is a parking lot that is 15 years old. We are renovating the entire site to give better flow for parents pick up and drop off. We had 4 bidders there. Each site was bid separately in order to allow contractors the flexibility to offer a bid based on their capabilities and expertise. They were publicly bid and bids opened on March 13th, and the results are shown as below. At this time, we are recommending awarding a contract to the following companies as the lowest responsible bidders, respectively. Manaville Construction in the amount of $302,025 for the Bolingbrook High School parking lot. Manaville Construction in the amount of $293,040 for transportation facility. And Abbey Paving in the amount of $398,825 for Independence, all being recommended as the lowest responsible bidder, subject to final attorney approval of the contract.
We have a
So
motion.
moved. So moved.
Motion
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Gary, can you hear me?
Yes.
Got a question for you. In lieu of everything that is going on right now, do you think that it would be responsible for us to have these bids revised, given the fact that material costs may be tanking?
I think that's a hard question to really answer, JT, in that while oil prices certainly seem to be on the decline, the earlier we get into a queue of respective contractors, the better. So it's really hard to say where, the later you go out, you might get a bidder who's maybe not as hungry for the job, for the business, and might, inflate their pricing just to maybe fill a schedule. We may not get the same responses that we did. Really, really hard to answer.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would be concerned about is competition in the market drying up, companies going belly up, and you don't have as many options. But just was wondering, was there anything in the contract that said they would revise based on, material costs changing?
Typically, we don't have anything like that. Obviously, it could be a help or a hindrance. If we had that kind of language, and prices were to go north, go upward, they would obviously want to recoup that as well. So
Sure.
I have not seen that.
We might be able to be in a position to maybe have our construction manager give them a call and just see if there's any wiggle room there. If nothing else, just if you're not out anything but the phone call. So if that's a possibility. I do know that most of these firms that do asphalt paving in particular, they lock their oil prices in January, February. So maybe there is some, like I said, maybe there's some wiggle room with the price of oil going down to the point where, it's down to $20-some a barrel now from wherever it was, 40 or 50. So there might be some wiggle room there.
We will certainly take that.
Yeah,
take
at
that
least we
step.
can ask, right?
Yeah.
So,
So would we want to table this to find out that information?
no, because we want to be in the queue to get these jobs done as soon as possible. We're going to get past this corona situation, and we still need to conduct business as usual. And in the summertime, the buildings are going to be closed, and that's the time of the year when we can replace parking lots and other structures, other repairs and maintenance that need to be done. And we may even be on a shortened, who knows, maybe they'll extend the school year sometime into June, and we may be even on a shorter pattern. And as Gary said, we want to be in the queue early, in my opinion. So otherwise, we're going to have holes in the parking lot in October, and that's probably not a good idea either.
I just feel a little uncertain with all of the uncertainty going on right now. I would rather hold off if at all possible.
So Gary, a vote yes on this, is that locks the terms in as they are, or that just locks the idea of doing the project?
We are recommending the prices that were submitted as bids, lowest responsible bidder. I don't know that that prevents us from reaching out to the respective contractors to ask them, in light of the oil prices declining, if there would be any sort of consideration given for an adjustment in their submittal based on those materials.
These are not big contracts. They're in the $200,000 or $300,000 range, or $300,000 or $400,000 range. They're not like the $1.5 million parking lots or the redo that we did.
But it's a
last
collective million.
year. I understand that, but there's different contractors too. So I mean, you're looking at, there's 3 or 4 different contractors doing these projects. Again, if they want to be, good stewards and people who are on our list, we have a pretty good working relationship with it, as far as I can tell in the past. We've worked with Abby, I don't know if we've worked with Mandeville, but I know we've worked with Orange Crush and what have you. So I think those guys would, if there's an opportunity to maybe, the oil cost is a pass-through cost. So if they can reduce their price by 20 grand, it's 20 grand. Maybe, and if they're willing to do that, why wouldn't we? If this was going to save us, hundreds of thousands of dollars, it might be worth it taking a look at. But to delay this until sometime, possibly delay it and push it back and get out of the line, That's the last place we want to be. And remember, last year, they were finishing parking lots 3 days before school was set to start because we had just a horrible construction season with rain and, you know, the weather that we had last year. So any kind of weather anomalies, and if we get extended into June with the, you know, classrooms and what have you, with, you know, being on campus, and then all of a sudden we lose 2 weeks there, and then if you have bad weather, now you lose another 2 weeks possibly. Now you might be in that situation where you've got holes in the parking lot and you don't have enough places for people to park. So,
I think we're just asking if we can check on it. That's what I would ask, is that we just check to see if that price can be adjusted if the price of oil goes down.
correct, and that's what he's already made a note that he's gonna.
That he will do that.
That he will,
Thank
he
you.
will reach out to those through our construction manager.
I think to JT's question, you know, certainly this would be a not-to-exceed price, and we will certainly pursue, as has been requested, if any adjustments can be made. I would also encourage you to look at some of the bid tabs if you haven't already in the packet. Some of these bids are very, very tight, primarily independents. You're talking about less than $300 difference between the lowest bidder and the second lowest bidder. So there's a, you know, they definitely sharpen their pencils.
So we have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote would be in order. Shelley?
Member Campbell, can you hear us? Okay, Member Burduris,
Yes.
Member Pero,
Yes.
Member Gilbo,
No, I'd rather wait a bit.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
and President Quigley.
Yes. Thank you. Let's see, moving down the agenda. Bus lease, Gary? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoop, I skipped all over Judy Nash. Judy?
Hi there, everybody. Action Report 7.1 is our consolidated action report for certified and classified personnel. This evening, we're seeking your approval on 9 items for certified personnel and 6 items for classified personnel.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Gilbo,
Yes.
Member Pero,
Yes.
Member Burduris,
Yes.
Member Campbell, can you hear us?
We can see her phone, but we can't see
Yes.
her.
I can see her phone, but I saw her video for a little bit, but Secretary Sikora
Yes.
and Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Next, Judy? 7.2?
Yep. Action Report 7.2 is the approval of some job descriptions that we brought for your information at the March 9th board meeting. One of them is a new job description for the lead mechanic. The others are updated job descriptions for supported education instructional aid, student services coordinator, administrative assistant for administrative services, and assistant director for continuous improvement.
Motion?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question for you, Judy.
Sure.
On the administrative assistant for administrative services description, it talks about chaperones that get paid. Who might that be? Like, what situations would a chaperone be paid?
That's a great question, and I would have to defer to Gary on that because I am not aware of chaperones that get paid off the top of my head unless we're talking about certain stipends.
Any other questions?
Gary got that? Does Gary know?
If Gary can't answer, which I don't know that he knows off the top of his head either, it's certainly something that I can touch base with Lori Alsobrooks on and get that question answered for you.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and then I have one more comment or question. For student services coordinator, we changed, well, most of the, first of all, let me ask you this. Are any of these new positions?
just the lead mechanic is. The rest are existing positions that the titles are changing, or some of the required skills or required functions are being tweaked a little bit to better meet the needs of our district at this point in time. Some of
And
them
then-
have been updated since 2009.
And then the need for the lead mechanic, could you talk about that a little bit, please?
Sure. We talked a little bit about that at the last board meeting, but there was a need that was brought forward by the mechanic at the bus barn, or the mechanics at the bus barn, particular group, for somebody who could be more able to help coordinate the efforts that are going on in terms of cleaning, repair, ordering, and so on. So it's very much similar to the lead positions that we have in buildings and grounds, for example. So it's a position that we're looking to expand the responsibilities of one of our mechanics to a lead mechanic position.
And then back to the student services coordinator, you said that things were tweaked on this one. And
Mhm.
one of the tweaks that I saw that kind of bothered me a little bit was, instead of 5-year teaching experience, they just need 5-year education experience now.
Well, part of the reason for that is because we have individuals who may not be classroom teachers. They may be social workers. They may be speech and language pathologists. So we take the narrower word of teaching and expand it to education. It doesn't make them any less of an educator, but we wanted to make sure that we were including a broader range of individuals in the student services department that would be eligible for that particular role.
I really like the fact that the people that are leaders have had classroom experience. I understand if it's a hearing person or a specialist like that, but if the education portion of their experience could have been in the classroom, I would rather see that they have classroom experience if they're going to be in a lead position, so that they understand what the people they're helping out are going through, if at all possible.
And I think that's certainly fair. But in addition to working with educators in the classroom or helping teachers in the classroom, this individual would be leading groups of social workers, psychologists, speech and language pathologists as well. So that expertise is going to be very valuable in that realm as well.
Yeah, I just would like to see them have as much classroom experience as at all possible. That would be great.
I have a question also, Judy. On any of the applications, there is a phrase at the bottom of essential functions that says, perform all duties as requested by supervising teacher, principal, and assistant principal, or something similar to that. To me, that's very vague, so that if somebody really wanted to go against this person, they could request them to go wash their car or get them coffee every morning or whatever. I think we need to be a little less vague on job descriptions from now on, as performing any duty as asked of them, just because of that reason.
Yeah, I mean, other duties as assigned is a phrase that is used on just about every job description I've ever seen. Certainly, I would pretty much assure that we would never see abuse of tasks like that, outside the realm of the educational process. At least I would hope that from our leaders, but we certainly don't want to make these descriptions so narrow that it doesn't allow for changes or shifts within, with needs in those responsibilities. So that's one of the reasons why that other duties as assigned is there.
Okay, I just see it as very vague, and I could see someone that if they got angry at someone that could request silly things. I don't know why it needs to be there. I'm sure they would do it anyway without that being there, but I think we need to be real careful on that.
Absolutely. And I would say that if there were things that were outside of areas that were necessary, I'm sure I would hear it. I'm sure that individuals would be contacting our union president as well, and we would be working together to make sure that those things did not occur.
If there's no other questions, motion,
Wait, I got one.
oh,
Judy, did you say that, you said that lead mechanic was a position you just were gonna move somebody to it? So we're not actually adding a position, we're just promoting one of the people that are already there, or we're adding, jobs?
That is the intent, yes, JT. And
Okay.
I don't know who that individual is. We would be posting that position, and anybody who's currently in that position can apply. Certainly we'll be opening it to external candidates as well. And our hope is that we'll be able to fill it internally.
But if we find an external candidate, we would be adding a staff member, correct? Or would the intention be to fill that job if someone internal is promoted?
I think the intention is to fill it internally, but we would have to look at, what
No.
the applicants bring to us and make decisions accordingly.
No, what I was asking was that we're still gonna have one employee to one employee, right? We're not going one employee to two employees?
That is the current intent, yes, is not to increase FTEs in the department.
Okay.
we have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please. Shelley?
Member Gilbo,
No.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
and Member Campbell, just checking, can you hear us yet?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yay.
Yay, yes. We're voting on the job descriptions?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
and President Quigley.
Yes. Judy, 7.3.
7.3 is resolution number 2014, authorizing the honorable dismissal of educational support personnel employees.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Gilbo,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. 7.4, Judy?
Yep, resolution number 2016, authorizing non-reemployment of a first-year probationary teacher.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Gilbo,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Bus lease, Gary, Superintendent Information Report.
Just wanted to bring your attention the fact that we've got a bus lease expiring in June 30th for 59 of our buses. We're looking to replace those with the similar seating capacities, including 3-point seat belts in all seating positions. There's 4 different configurations of the buses, all listed there with a unit price as received by Midwest Transit, who's been providing buses to us for probably over 20 years. All warranties would be the same. We are adding an additional forward-facing camera on each bus for added safety and security, which will be recording outside the front windshield to provide evidence if somebody were to get in an accident or somebody did something that ran afoul of the law, we would have a record of that. Also included are Digitalk two-way radio systems as required by law, the Zonar GPS and inspection systems, again, all the latest safety features. And so our intent is to have the lease documents reviewed by legal in the next several weeks, and planning on bringing back to you on April 20th action or consideration for action at that time.
Anybody has any questions of Gary on this? We run about 185 bus fleet. Is that correct, Dave? 190, according to Dave, sitting in the back of the room. So we rotate these in and out, and 5-year cycles or whatever it is, and they roll through different numbers, different years. So again, if you have questions before that comes up, reach out to Gary or Dave, and I'm sure they can provide you finer details on that. Moving down the agenda, legal services report.
No report.
Thank you. AFT report. Hearing none, seeing none. Valley View Council report. Hearing none, seeing none. Valley View Office Personnel Council report. Hearing none, seeing none. Moving down the agenda. Questions from the public on actions we have taken today. Seeing none, hearing none. Announcements by the board. Oh,
I
you
do.
wanna talk after, or you want to talk now? Okay. Announcements by the board.
I do. I just want to say to everybody that I hope you are well, your families are well, and to stay safe.
Thank you.
So to thank everybody from central administration to the teachers for everything that they have done to nutrition and security and everybody who's worked so hard to get everything done for the kids.
Absolutely.
I have to echo that as well.
Ditto. And we're praying for each and every one of us and them. So we're going to make it. God's grace.
I have to agree with everybody's sentiment. Wish everybody the best of health, safe.
You know, and same as I said earlier, you know, working with our communities, working with, Romeoville, Bolingbrook, local law enforcement, everything that's going on here. People seem to be finally taking this thing pretty serious. I think maybe not so much a week or two ago, but they are now. My thoughts go out to some of the parents who are home now with kids all day and the kids getting restless. And I'm sure some of you have seen some of the interesting things parents have put up on Facebook about being day one of being a teacher. It kind of made me smile when I started thinking about that, because you have now you kind of know what the teachers go through every day. It's one thing to do it for a couple months in the summer, but when you're actually trying to sit down with your child every day and make sure that lessons are getting done and what have you, I'm struggling with a 17-year-old, trying to get him to just do certain things too. So I get it. But again, families, parents, employees, everybody that's involved in this community, hopefully we'll get through this unscathed or relatively unscathed. And I just want to thank all of our staff, my fellow board members. We spent several, I said this is our first full run of this, but we've done 3 of these. And Rachel and I and Vic and John have been on the phone over the weekend and last weekend as well, or last 2 weekends, trying to figure out what was going to happen here. The governor has, as I said in an email I sent out, the governor has did the right thing in my opinion by closing some of this stuff down earlier and then really closing it down and clamping it down. It does make a difference, and I think it will make a difference to flatten out this curve that they talk about. Don't go out and panic buy. There's no sense in it. We're still going to have things at the grocery stores and all those kind of things. I think we're beyond that curve now, but take what you need, use what you take. It's just kind of like the things you're taught when you're a little kid. So, but with that, I just, again, thank you to the guys who showed up here today, make this possible. And we will maybe retool this again for the next meeting. If we're back in class, it'll be business as usual. If we're not, we may be doing the same format. At that, I have nothing else as far as that goes. Rachel, do you have any announcements?
I do. I just want to echo everything the board has said. We are so grateful for our staff, our students, our families, all of our community partners. We're continuing to learn and grow through this together. I'm very confident that with the partnership that we have with everyone, that we can work through this and do the best for our students and families. Please, if you know of someone who's not connected to us on social media or visiting our website at www.vvsd.org, please do. We will be continuing to share important information regarding any possible extension of the closure, as well as at-home learning. If we do move into formal e-learning, remote learning plan, we will be communicating information to staff and students and families about this, and we will be doing everything possible to ensure our students are equipped. Our students in grades 6 through 12 are currently fully one-to-one with devices at home. Our elementary students, we have plans for, if this is extended, how we would distribute devices for grades 2 through 5, and then what those plans would look like for our littlest learners in pre-K, K, and 1. So please continue to follow us. If you have family or friends, text or call them and make sure they're following us too, so we can all stay connected as we continue to work through this together. So our sincere gratitude to everyone. Thank you.
Any announcements by the public? Hearing none, seeing none. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
So move.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Have a safe evening and rest of the next 2 or 3 weeks, and God bless you all. Thanks.